On the morning of February 26, 1945, as a gray sun struggled to penetrate the layers of smoke, sulfur, and drifting volcanic ash that smothered the northern half of Iwo Jima, Hill 382 rose like a broken spine above the black beaches, its slopes trembling under the lingering concussion of Japanese artillery, and it was there, amid the noise, heat, and chaos of a stalled marine assault, that Private First Class Douglas Jacobson found himself staring down at the bodies of the bazooka gunner and loader who moments earlier had been advancing beside him, both now lifeless in the ash, their faces already losing definition beneath a fine black powder that coated everything on the island, the M1A1 2.36-inch bazooka lying abandoned between them, while ahead, embedded into the volcanic hillside with deliberate precision, 16 Japanese fortifications manned by roughly 75 defenders maintained perfectly overlapping fields of fire that had already torn 2 Marine platoons apart before they could gain momentum. And although Marine Corps doctrine was absolute, taught without exception at Camp Pendleton and reinforced through endless drills, that the bazooka was a strictly two-man weapon, too heavy, too awkward, and too dangerous for solo use, requiring flawless coordination between gunner and loader to manage loading, aiming, backblast clearance, and firing under stress, Jacobson bent down anyway, lifted the 54-inch steel tube, slung the remaining rockets over his shoulder, and made a decision that would unravel one of the most formidable defensive systems ever constructed by the Imperial Japanese Army, because as Company L attempted to push forward through ash that crunched like shattered glass beneath their boots, Hill 382 dominated the northern approaches to Motoyama Airfield No. 2, giving Japanese observers an unobstructed view of Marine movements across the sector. And when enemy fire erupted without warning, 20mm anti-aircraft cannons, repurposed for ground combat, ripping through the air where Jacobson's head had been seconds earlier, the hill revealed itself not as terrain but as a weapon, a carefully engineered killing zone of concrete blockhouses, rock-carved pillboxes, and camouflaged rifle positions positioned to cover one another's blind spots with mathematical efficiency. And when the bazooka team to Jacobson's left was cut down instantly, he understood what his sergeant and platoon leaders could not yet see from their lower vantage point, that every conventional Marine maneuver had already been anticipated, that flanking routes were already zeroed by concealed guns waiting to open fire, and that unless those fortifications were destroyed from the front, the advance would die exactly where it stood, so under constant fire, belly crawling across exposed ground while bullets snapped overhead and ash burst upward with every impact, Jacobson reached the fallen men, stripped the wounded loader of his remaining ammunition, hoisted the bazooka onto his shoulder, and accepted that he would now have to perform the work of 2 men: load, aim, fire, clear backblast, relocate, and repeat, alone, while Japanese gunners actively hunted him, and when he selected his first target, a concrete blockhouse dominating the approach with machine gun fire, he relied entirely on instinct and muscle memory, loading a rocket while prone, estimating range under fire, glancing behind him to clear the backblast zone, and firing at roughly 75 meters, watching the shaped charge punch directly into the firing port and detonate inside, silencing the position instantly and opening a narrow corridor through which his platoon could rise and advance, yet revealing additional fortifications higher on the slope, because General Tadamichi Kuribayashi's defense of Iwo Jima was not built on suicidal charges but on endurance, concealment, and depth, a web of reinforced positions connected by underground tunnels that allowed defenders to reposition, reinforce, and counterattack long after surface bunkers appeared destroyed. And as Jacobson pushed upward, the bazooka growing heavier with every movement and the air growing thicker with dust and cordite, he destroyed a rock-carved machine gun nest, then a massive blockhouse thick enough to survive naval bombardment, neutralizing each through carefully placed shots while Marines exploited the brief collapses in Japanese fire to seize ground, and as fatigue began to settle into his shoulders and arms and sweat soaked his uniform despite the February chill, Jacobson shifted from supporting his own platoon to reinforcing Lieutenant Simlick's assault company, whose advance had stalled against a camouflaged strongpoint of 6 earth-covered rifle positions arranged in a defensive perimeter, each designed to protect the others, and one by one, under direct fire and without pause, Jacobson dismantled them with precision shots, adjusting angles, compensating for range, surviving return fire that bracketed his position, relocating between shell craters, and adapting his movements as Japanese defenders began to recognize him as the focal threat and shifted their fire accordingly, until the strongpoint collapsed entirely and Marines surged through the breach. But the battle intensified yet again when Japanese artillery increased in accuracy and a Type 95 Hago light tank emerged near the summit, engaging Marine Shermans with disciplined fire, disabling one outright and forcing its crew to abandon the vehicle under fire, leaving Jacobson as the only infantryman in the immediate area with a weapon capable of stopping it, and crossing nearly 100 yards of exposed volcanic terrain under rifle and machine gun fire. He advanced deliberately, using every crater, ridge, and depression for cover, closing to effective range, firing first at the track to immobilize the tank, then repositioning under fire and firing again from under 50 meters. The shaped charge penetrating the turret and killing the crew inside, transforming the vehicle into a burning wreck. Yet even this success only revealed the final obstacle, the massive summit blockhouse serving as the primary observation and command node for the entire northern defense, coordinating artillery, mortar, and machine gun fire across multiple sectors of the island. And with only a handful of rockets remaining after nearly 2 hours of continuous combat, Jacobson advanced carefully, eliminating supporting positions first to clear his approach, surviving mortar bursts and concentrated small arms fire as Japanese defenders attempted desperately to stop him, before finally reaching roughly 60 meters from the structure, steadying the bazooka against his shoulder, aligning the sight on the primary firing port, and firing his final rocket with perfect precision, the explosion triggering secondary detonations that tore through the interior, destroying communications equipment, killing the crew, and instantly silencing coordinated Japanese fire across the entire northern sector, allowing Marine units across Hill 382 to advance almost immediately, and by mid-afternoon the summit was secured, 16 fortified positions destroyed, approximately 75 defenders eliminated, and one of the most critical pieces of terrain on Iwo Jima captured, all because one Marine ignored the rulebook, carried a weapon designed for 2 men, and transformed a desperate, chaotic moment into one of the most extraordinary individual infantry actions of the Second World War.